Hello, and welcome to Whatever Wednesday with Burkhart Books, the podcast. I'm your host, Dianne Burkhart. I hope you'll subscribe and join me every Wednesday for, well, whatever. Let's get on with our show today. Hello today, my happy listeners. Well, at least I hope you're happy. Today is May the 4th, 2022. Happy Star Wars Day, people. I am so thrilled to be back in my podcasting chair after, well, just completely flaking on my podcast for the last 2 weeks. I'm going to be real honest here. I have been struggling so hard with stress and procrastination because of that stress for the last few months. I don't think this conversation really happens nearly enough, so I'm going to do a bit of sharing today. I started writing my book serial, way back in 2015. And published the first one in November of that year. And here it is, 2022, and I am just now starting to finish up the 7th novella in that serial. Let me repeat that again, the 7th novella. These are short books. It really should not have taken me this long to get to the 7th one, but it was a learning experience. This book, Into the West Family Ties, will be the last one in the Into the West Saga serial collection, which, if you follow my work or blogs or this podcast at all, you already know this. But I started having some real anxiety back in November when I tried to finish this book to publish it for Christmas. I mean, that was the original plan anyway. It has a section of the book that happens at Christmas, so I thought it would make a perfect Christmas book to publish at that time. That did not work out. I just kept getting in my own way as I was trying to finish it up. Then family things came up, health things came up, and it's still not written. Now, I have been working on it sporadically, but it's not even near being finished. I know I need to focus and get that done. So to make that happen, I decided to sit down and take a real long, hard look at what's been going on with me. The truth is, I was struggling with some major anxiety for several months. When this pops up in my life, I tend to start shutting everything down. I pull back from projects and just focus on working through the anxiety. And that's what I did. I just pushed back the release date for the final book more than once. I dropped out of a lot of my social groups, especially the ones for writing. Then there was also some for expats that I pulled back from, because I'm an expat here in Germany. I dropped out of some of my gamers groups, which I absolutely loved, and I miss those people. But anything that I just didn't have the energy to focus on in that moment, I dropped. And it actually really helped me as a person, not so much as a writer who's trying to make a career of writing. Then right before Christmas, I got a COVID booster shot. Now, I'm not advocating for the shots in one way or another. You do you, whatever that means as far as the shots go. I do not have those conversations with people outside of my immediate family. But I personally had mild allergic reactions to the first 2 immunization shots. Nothing that Benadryl couldn't clear up in about an hour. But after the booster shot, I started having some major health problems. I was having high blood pressure issues that lasted for about 2 months. It was a very nerve-wracking time for me because heart disease runs through my family like floodwaters in the rainy season. So you can imagine I was making doctor's appointments left and right pretty quick, trying to get this all cleared up. And thankfully, that event is over now. My heart is fine. I'm good. But it was still a major disruption in my life for about 2 months. The point to sharing all of this, about all of my self-care and introspection, it made me realize I had been procrastinating for a long time for a number of reasons. Mainly, number one, I had been working on this serial for so long, the characters are familiar to me, and I hate to say goodbye to them, even if it's not forever, because there is another serial called Surviving the West that is in the plans I want to do later after I explore a few other stories that I have running around in my head. But Sharon Springs is a comfortable place for me to be. Starting off in a new world, even if it's one of my own creation, is a little uncomfortable. I just have to remind myself that being uncomfortable can be really good for creation too. And number 2, the Into the West Saga serial has been a very safe project for me because I've been writing it as Stephen Burkhart, not as Dianne Burkhart. If that book series had totally tanked, I could just walk away and people would not even really associate those books with me. However, the next books that I have planned, I'm going to be writing as Dianne Burkhart, and they will have my face on the books. So now I have to make sure that they are very, very good because they will be associated with me forever. And that's a little unnerving for somebody with neurological conditions that still cause daily struggles with language skills. I mean, the struggle there is real. And number 3, I have always said that it really didn't matter if this first serial project didn't turn into a moneymaker because they were my practice books. I was using them to learn how to do all of this self-publishing and promotion stuff well. It was just a learning experience. It didn't have to be profitable. But now, the next books are going to be aimed at actually making money, and they will need to attract a larger following. If I still end up losing money on the next books I have coming out, I'm not sure what that will mean for my writing career. So that is where I'm at right now. I'm struggling with some anxiety, but determined to pull myself out of the rut I have let myself fall into and start pushing forward to get the career I want. To that end, I'm going to shake things up a little bit. If you read the blog on Monday, you already know I have said goodbye to my Monday Movie Madness blog and have changed it to Manic Mondays, where I will actually talk about, oh my God, books. My books I'm reading, indie authors I think you should check out, and I'll throw in a few movies from time to time when I find one I want to share because, I'm a movie buff. I love movies. I'm also going to change the name of this podcast to something that might attract more of my target market, people who read books. Whatever Wednesday doesn't really scream books, so I think I need something that's more catchy to the people who are looking for something that's in the book genre. I haven't really decided on the new name just yet. I might have to work on that this weekend. But be sure to keep checking out my Facebook page for Dianne Burkhart Author, and I will post some of the names I'm thinking about on there, and you can help me choose. If you know me at all, you know how it is with me and names. I need as much help as I can get. Now, I was supposed to finish out this podcast today with more reading from my book Into the West, The Orphan Train. We are so close to finishing that book. But I woke up with a headache today, and I got a very late start on this podcast, and I just do not have the time to do all the voice changes and the editing that I need to do to make it sound good. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to postpone that for next week. But next week we will have the rest of the book, even if I just have to make the entire podcast just me reading the end of that book. After I finish that, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to go through all of these podcasts and piece together all the readings from them into one beta version of an audiobook, which I'm going to see if I can figure out how to post it on my members only page of my website, burkhartbooks.com. I want to see if I can make it a downloadable album. I think I know how to do this all in theory. We'll just have to see how it works in practice. This beta version of the audiobook will be free to members of my members only page, with the understanding that I need feedback on what you think of the quality of the audiobook. Do you like the voices? How is the sound quality? Do you like the music? If you're familiar with the actual accents I'm trying to do, how close am I? Are the accents believable or are they insulting? Because I want to be accurate and respectful and not fall into any insulting stereotypes. That is very important to me. The final version of the audiobook will be very different in that it will have more music and a few sound effects. I want to make sure that it's more of an immersive experience, but this basic setup will be good for a beta test. Plus, I just bought my new microphone setup with the wonderful coffee donations from my mom and my friend, fellow author Mark Redman. Be sure to check out his books too. You will not regret it. I hope to get the interface for the microphone here soon so I can start the final recordings for the audiobooks. The new equipment should make a big difference in the sound quality. If you want to be one of my beta listeners for the complete beta version of this audiobook and give me feedback on it, just head on over to my website, burkhartbooks.com, and join our members only page today if you haven't already. It's always free to join and you can quit at any time. Links are available in the podcast description. So, this is a very short one today. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to come back next week for the final installment of the reading from Into the West, the Orphan Train. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, and may the 4th be with you.